Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Boomy Reactions. I'm Boomy, hello. And today, guys, I'm going to be reacting to a video entitled The Do's and Don'ts of What to Do When You're Visiting America, as requested by one of my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for taking the time to request and to note down in the comments. Thank you. Guys, if you're enjoying these reactions as well, please like and subscribe. It's massively helpful for my channel, and thank you very much. So I'm not really too sure what I should and shouldn't do if I visit America so much. So educate me, educate away. Let's jump straight into the video.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in
Hello.
Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S. because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do. And this video is going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look, Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them, they feel very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay? So make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, you know, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, be like, Mark, how's it going, all this stuff, and my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is.
Okay, this one seems a little bit self-explanatory. I think if you go around kind of touching strangers, it's a little bit weird. Okay, if I come to America, I'm not going to touch you guys, but it's okay. I don't think I would have anyway. um, but yeah, okay. British people, we like our personal space. I think I'm speaking on behalf of all British people, obviously. But as a general rule, I guess we like our personal space. Maybe we can all be friends. That's one thing we have in common.
Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you is don't count on public transportation. Look, when we were in China and we were throughout Europe and South America, we took buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place because public transport is really developed. Here in the U.S., you cannot count on public transport to get you a lot of places. Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around with public transport and it'll take you where you want to go. But a lot of towns, small towns especially, and middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good. And
I think that's another thing that we have in common. um, so I don't know whether this is a very British thing. You'll probably hear us complaining about our public transport. Yeah, the trains are generally more expensive than we'd like, but maybe that's also an issue that you guys have. Okay, well, sure, don't rely on public transport. Okay, I would say the same over here.
at night sometimes it's not very safe, so that is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're going to probably have to rent a car when you come here, okay? So just have a heads up for that. And that kind of leads into the next don't I have for you, is don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States, it's, you know, continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from, oh, I'm going to do, you know, from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia?
I actually thought, as a follow on from that last point, the next thing he was going to say was just don't drive on the wrong side of the road, which would be, it would apply very much to people from the UK because we drive on the opposite sides of the road to you guys. I thought that's where he was going with that. Never mind, but that's probably a good point. Don't drive on the wrong side of the road. So don't underestimate how vast and massive the USA is. That is a very easy mistake to make. I speak, you know, as a British person, so our island is much, much smaller. So for us, I suppose going to the nearest big city on a day out, that's maybe an hour or two in the car, depending on where you're going and where you come from. But yeah, that must be like a mistake that'd be very easy for British people to make just because we're smaller. That makes sense. Okay.
No, you're like, that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the U.S. I meet a lot of travelers that are like, oh, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami Beach, and then head over to LA. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in cars. The
Sounds like my
distances here
planning.
are insane. So what I recommend is
Wow.
picking a region. So, oh, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England, or we're going to go in the southeast. Go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that, or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that. But also, it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive. That's a day trip. Like my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home just for lunch. 6 hours in the car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours we start to think, that kind of is a long drive. And we drive the entire way through. Okay, this isn't like, oh, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no. No. We drive all the way through.
Yeah, we don't do little stops like that either. Just go for the whole drive. That's fine. Um, yeah. So quite often we complain about our commutes to work, and our commutes are literally, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody. But my commute, for example, might take me between half an hour and 45 minutes, and I will complain about that. But I believe, you know, is that an average commute for you guys? Again, it would depend where you were coming from, where you were going. But yeah, I can understand how people would underestimate the sheer size and distance of from like one state to another. It's good advice.
Okay? Now, my next don't for you when you come here is don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the US, we have sales tax. I know other countries, they have VAT, value added taxes. They're already put into the price of products. So when you see, oh, it's $1 or €1, oh, I only pay €1. In the US, it is not like that. We have sales tax. So a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere. Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes, and some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax. It can be different anywhere you go. So if you're gonna go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not gonna be $1. Where I live, there's 2 cities right by where I live. One, it's gonna be $1.08. The other one, it's gonna be $1.09. So be ready for that. And
So where does so what's the final payment? Do you get it added like at the tills, at checkouts, or how does that work? So like something is advertised at a certain price and you've just got to have it in the back of your mind that there's going to be a sales tax added at checkout. Is that how it works? Because yeah, we'd complain about that. So I think all of our prices are inclusive of VAT. I think that would be the only thing on top of price that we would pay, but that's generally included in the price. Otherwise, you're going to get very disgruntled customers, to say the least.
it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top. And that leads us into the 5th don't, and that is don't forget to tip. Look, in the US, you tip 15 to 20% at a sit-down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that, no, you don't tip at a fast food place, but if it's a sit-down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which
This is the same over here, but that is the only circumstance in which we tip. It is very exclusively just restaurants. We don't really tip as a nation at all, but it is something that we do in restaurants. The logic in that, I don't know. That is a very expensive tip. Like 15 to 20%. Is that normal? Is he over exaggerating? Is that an average tip? So we would tip, maybe we're just really cheap. In restaurants, we would typically tip 10%. That is normal. Unless you have, like you said, a big party, and then in which case there's normally a service charge that's added to the bill. Yeah, oh, that is expensive.
which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the US, there's a reason why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat in the US. It's because there's kind of this understanding that the service fees and paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in tipping and this tipping isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food, they can do that, but they don't. Okay, so tipping is something we do here in the US, so do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're gonna want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your.
That's a good idea. I suppose tipping the bartender is, I don't think that's abnormal over here. I know some people do it to get the barkeeper's attention, and I imagine that would work. So understandably, the food is cheaper, but you be prepared for the tip, and you will tip more than you would over here. I don't know where my opinion falls on this. Help me out, guys. How do you feel about the tipping situation, especially if wages are so significantly less if you were to work in a restaurant or in that kind of industry? It just seems really unfair. I don't know how restaurants can justify paying their staff less on the assumption that they rely so heavily on tips. It just seems like a bit of a cop-out to pay your staff less. Anyway.
Next drink. So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't is don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the US.
Why would that freak you out?
Because of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the US, the people actually are pretty nice and they want to help people. And sometimes for some travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water or chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that.
Free handcuffs if you drink and drive. Yes, you should. Yeah, that's not that uncommon over here. I think we just copy an awful lot of what you guys do over in the USA. Yeah, to get like free little starters and nibbles and things like that when you go into a restaurant, it's not that weird. And I definitely would not be freaked out if I was to receive freebies or a really good level of service. That would just make me happy.
So don't be like shocked when like, wait, I didn't order this bread. I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes with your meal, okay? Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out, all right? You actually have to order some food when you go there.
Well,
now my next don't for you is don't smoke cigarettes in the US. If you're smoking cigarettes in the US, people will look at you like you're trying to kill their baby. Cigarettes is like totally verboten, like people really frown upon it, which is funny because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much, but cigarettes, oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette, 2 blocks.
Yeah, again, I maybe this is something that we've just copied from you guys, but smoking in public places and indoors became illegal in, when was it now? Quite a while ago. Like, I think it was actually earlier than like 2010. I can't remember the exact year, but it's been illegal to do for a long time, even in designated smoking areas outside. There's not very many of them. And you do get very, the fly, sorry. You do get very dirty looks if you are a smoker in these designated areas, especially if you've got your kids with you. That can happen. So again, similar.
Away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke, because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that, have smoke free. It's smoke free, so you got to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things, so that can be something. So I've come here outside my favorite liquor store to give you the next don't, and that is don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21 or cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the US. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your
16 over
ID,
here.
because if you look like you're 40 or under, they may ask you for that. And don't get mad at them, because if they don't ask, they could get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised, because we've had friends that have come here, try to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID if they want to buy liquor, or they want to buy, well, they want to buy.
So again, this is very similar over here. We have the age 25. So if you look under 25, you'll be ID'd, or anyone with you can be ID'd. I've got to say, I would never, ever take offense at somebody IDing me. It makes me very happy, actually. I love people assuming that I'm under 25. It never happens these days. It does not happen. But that would make my day. Who gets angry about being ID'd? It's a marvelous thing if it ever happens.
Alcohol, or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just FYI on that one. Oh, that's also another don't I have for you is don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't use we don't use meters, we don't use kilometers, we don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds, things like that. And I'll put a conversion chart here to show you. But honestly, you may say, hey, how far is it to this next town? And they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that? Just know 60 miles, it's about 100 kilometers, okay? So just do that, because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people, when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away, they're like, 100 meters? It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay? Because metric, we don't do that so much here.
Do you know what's funny is we are meant to be a metric system using country, and we interchange with a few of those. Like our road signs will be in miles. We just pick and choose just to be difficult, to make things more confusing.
So our next don't is, when you do come to the US, there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and two is politics, because no matter where you are, you will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you. So it's best just to lay off those topics, talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nicer if it was sunny today and we could go sailing? Yes, that would be much better than discussing gun control or politics.
I have found this in some of the comments of my videos. It's never to offend. It is never to offend. But I understand. I do understand. It's a very personal thing to people, as is religion. It's incredibly personal. And it's like the saying goes, there's two things you never talk about at the dinner table: politics and religion. Yes, yeah.
Just putting that one out there for you right now.
Yeah, totally.
Now, my next note for you is, don't assume that all the U.S. and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European. Look,
but
the U.S. has all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same.
Yeah.
You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other, and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, slobby guys with ponytails. No, there's actually a lot of skinny people in America too, not just fat guys like me and my buddy Jeff. There are those. So don't assume it's all the same, all right? So do go out and explore. And that's why I always say is, if you're going to come to the U.S., go and explore different regions, because you'll get a really different feel. Because going to the southeast and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there versus going to the northwest and Seattle and Portland, or going to San Francisco, or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And
I think that kind of goes without saying. That just seems like a really common sense thing, isn't it? I don't think stereotypes are fair, and I'd like to say that it wasn't an issue, but it probably is. You probably do find a lot of people that stereotype. Um, it's ignorance. Just educate them.
Following on with that, I guess I would say another don't is don't assume there's no culture in the U.S. because there are a lot of cultural centers out there. If you go down to New Orleans, you see a very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston. Here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest with Chicago, Milwaukee, you go to the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different culture here. Historic culture with the Native Americans or more recent culture here. I mean, you have all that here you can really take in. And saying there's no culture in the U.S., it's not really true because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums like the Art Institute of Chicago or the Met in New York, the Getty in LA. There's all kinds of stuff you can see and do when you are here. For a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is, don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going, how are you, these kind of things in the US, it's not a question, it's a statement. It's like saying hi. Okay, just take it as a hi. Because a lot of people say, everyone asks me how I'm doing. When I try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, well, I was just saying how are you. Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way. It's like in France, ça va, ça va. How's it going? How's it going? We're good to go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good? You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's just, how are you?
Oh, he's just showing off now with his language skills. I suppose over here, that's an actual question. It's just best to have a very quick response to be armed with. Hey, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. How are you? No one's actually waiting for the answer back. You're probably like, 10 meters away. It's just one of those things that you say, isn't it? That did make me laugh.
How are you? You move on, okay? So don't think it's an actual question, all right? Now, another don't I have for you is don't expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money for this hotel. I'm probably going to get nicer stuff, like a nicer breakfast, better Wi-Fi. Oh, no, 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 no. For some reason in the U.S., it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi-Fi and breakfast. So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels, because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the U.S., and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice, so don't expect that from the fancy hotels.
That's an excellent piece of advice to carry forward. But I just read, did I read that properly? I'm going to have to rewind it. There's no 13th floor in your hotel, so it just skips. Is it a superstitious thing? Like with the elevator, or is it literally like you just don't have a 13th floor? That's not a universal thing. I don't believe in, is it? I'm going to sound really silly if he is just joking, so you guys have got to be kind, but tell me, is that a thing?
Another don't I have for you is don't skip out local food. Look, we're here in New England. We're here in Connecticut. We've been having lobster and clams.
Oh God, I would never.
New England clam chowder. Oh, my tummy is just like, more. It's fantastic. When I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, barbecue. Oh my God. The food in the different regions in the U.S. are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants. When you go to your hotel, ask them, hey, what's some local restaurants around here? What's some locally owned and operated restaurants? So you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owners are the ones helping you out, and that is really kind of a cool thing.
Oh, I love his sense of humor. I'm a big foodie. I would never dream of missing out on any local delicacies or cuisines. In fact, I go hunting for them when we go on holiday. So yes, I would definitely do that. Oh, he makes me laugh. He likes his food too. I love my food. See, I get it.
Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look, healthcare in the U.S. is insanely expensive. And just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill. All right? So if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or trip insurance. So in case you do get sick or you do break an ankle or you do break an arm or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now, you might have to pay it first and your insurance pays you back, but at least you'll get something back because healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive. Okay, so make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that people actually got mad at me for when I lived in other countries when I told them the U.S. has 50 states, and they said no, the U.S. has 52 states. Look. Don't think the U.S. has 52 states. The U.S. has 50 states. Yes. Okay, just a heads up on that one. I'm sure that people are going to be commenting down below that when I was in school they told me 52. No, there's 48 on the mainland, and then Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right? Yeah. So those are our don'ts for visiting the U.S. What are some of the don'ts you have for the U.S.? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the U.S. just so we can get things going. Anyway, if you like videos like this, we have stuff on what the don'ts of going to Russia, the don'ts of going to Germany, the don'ts of going to Brazil and things like that. And we really like helping travelers with honest travel advice. So if you like this video, do click that subscribe button. It means a lot to us, and we put new travel videos out every Wednesday and Saturday to help great travelers just like you. So I'll say bye from Connecticut and have a great time in the U.S. because don't worry, you will. It's a fantastic place.
Oh my gosh, I think he's adorable. I think he's so nice. He's so nice to watch. I'm going to go hunting through his videos to see if he has one about coming to the UK, because I think that would be pretty funny to watch. It's probably very accurate, but yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah, do you think there's any other do's or don'ts that he hasn't put on this list? I can't think off the top of my head. I've never been to America. Is there any that spring to mind, or no? Let me know, guys. Has he left any off the list? It'd be interesting to see what you guys have to say. And thank you for requesting this this YouTube channel. He's a darling. I want to watch more of these videos. So thank you very much. This has been a joy to watch, and I'll catch you on the next video.